Diana's evaluator is going to tell us what her objectives are.
Yes, Diana will be working from the basic communicator manual, Project 8, Get Comfortable with Visual Aids. Her objectives are to select visual aids that are appropriate for your message and the audience, and use visual aids correctly with ease and confidence.
Very good. 5 to 7 minutes. I'm just going to help her get set up here. I just plugged that in, so now you do have power if you want to use it. You plug in the power cord if you want. And see how well this light works. Ladies and gentlemen, Diana Thompson, Emotions, Emoji. Diana Thompson.
I'm happy. No, I am. What's the matter? You don't believe me? It's okay. I have proof. I sense that you are not convinced. So, what's the matter? I am giving you all of the information that you need to prove that I am happy. You know, it's so much more convenient today, the tools that we have to express emotions, than it used to be. I mean, it used to be that I actually had to use energy to show you how I felt, but now I can just LOL. Our old-fashioned ways of expressing emotions included gestures, facial expressions, and energy. We had to actually take the time to look at someone and read those expressions. But now, what we have available to us is so much easier. I can go through this entire selection of emojis to show you how I feel. And I can do it with the push of a button. And of course, you always know exactly what I am feeling by my emojis and emoticons. This is the way that we communicate emotions today. And yet, emotions affect every single part of our experience. In the 1970s, there was a patient by the name of Elliot. He had cancer, a brain tumor, and it was lodged on the amygdala part of the brain. This is the area of the brain that generates and regulates emotions. And when the surgeons went in to remove this brain tumor, what they discovered is they would need to remove the entire amygdala. They didn't know what would happen. So they removed this entire part of his brain that generates emotions. One surgeon actually commented that perhaps they were creating a Spock, a super being that could do great things. And when he came out of recovery, they discovered that Elliot had all of his memories, and it seemed that he could still go back into his life and carry on as before. And in 6 months, the follow-up session came with his doctors, and they discovered what happens when you have no capacity for emotions. Within 6 months, he had divorced his wife of 22 years, he had remarried, and he had divorced again. He took his very successful business into bankruptcy, and he could not maintain any relationships. He couldn't make simple decisions. He could not do something as simple as make a doctor's appointment because he had no preference for when that appointment would be. The man was virtually dysfunctional. He could not manage his life. Emotions affect every single part of our lives. And when you think about it, you realize emotions give us a lot of information, not only for ourselves, but what we see in other people. It can tell us when there's a problem to solve. I like to think of emotions as giving us the kind of information that you get from a pilot's control panel. It tells you what's going on outside and inside. It tells you when there's a problem to solve. On the outside, it would tell you what the weather is like, what the wind conditions are. It will tell you if there are obstacles in the way. Internally, a pilot's control panel will tell you if there is enough fuel, what your altitude is, if you're going in the right direction. Now, would you ever get into an airplane with a pilot who looks at those control panels and says, I don't pay any attention to those. That's for wimps. I'm just going to get us there by the seat of my pants. Intuition. That's all I need. No, a pilot's control panel is essential to help you get where you want to go. And yet, we've reduced it to emoticons. That information that is available to emotions, because it's uncomfortable. Emotions don't always feel good, and so it's much easier to ignore them. But in order to read that information and to gain the value of it, first you have to recognize that emotions are there for yourself and for other people. You have to put words to it, not just happy or sad, outraged, furious. The more words that you can use to describe those emotions, the more capable you are in identifying what the problem is. It can give you clues on how to solve it. And it will give you tools for managing those emotions. If you recognize the power that emotions have for you, then you won't feel the need to just put them in the category of emoticons and emojis. You might find that you feel more excited about that energy of emotion and reading it and recognizing it for the tool that it is. And if that doesn't work, don't worry, you always have that. Thank you.